Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
We All Be is honored to have on once again the honorable brother, the good brother Gavin Richard. He's going to give us a legalese, as they say, point of view as well about what's going on right now in this current news cycle as it pertains to melanated people. From that perspective, how are you doing today, sir?
Well, I'm doing fine, sir. Happy New Year. Merry belated Christmas. Good Kwanzaa. I know you probably don't celebrate.
I don't have no problem with Kwanzaa. I'm just, it's just point out the origins of things. People get all kind of weirded out and in their feelings about it. But it's good to have you on this now year, man. There's so much going on right now. I know I've been paying attention to what you've been doing on your channel. Some very good things as it relates to our people. It's sad in this day and age that we don't have a traditional black news media to really depend on, but we do have the black grassroots alternative media via social media and this internet age. So I'm glad that you are a part of that infantry of info warriors. So
I'm trying to be like you. So
really, we all trying to be like somebody, right? But I'm just glad to be on your side, you and Nicole's view, and so many other unsung people doing this work.
Nicole's view is just one, but there's also Tony Rain. There's Harvey Superboy. I love listening to him because he's got, I don't know if you're aware of him, Your World.
Okay.
On YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you should subscribe to his channel. He really goes in depth, and he actually sounds like you a little bit.
Oh, really? I'll check him out. This is not Dr. Watkins, Your Black World. It's Your World, right? That's what you said?
Right. It's called Your World.
Okay.
Yeah, but his name is Harvey. Harvey, and his original channel used to be Superboy, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he does great videos. Professor Black Truth, I love listening to him. He has probably the perfect radio voice, and like he he just does the straight skinny, and he'll criticize you just like this, Tariq Nasheed, of course, who's big. So, that's just a few of the people I can think of, man. But, I love listening to you as well. I love the stuff you do with Judge Joe Brown, having him on. And, there's a lot going on in the world. So thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, no problem. It's an honor to have you on. And I'll let you guide the conversation in terms of, sure. So much to talk about. I know you're very opinionated about some of the things, especially in relation to the image of the black man in the current news.
Well, let me ask you something. This morning, did you happen to see the new commercial that Gillette put out?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm going to tell you and your listeners, when they get a chance, and some of them probably have heard of it, go on YouTube. There's a commercial that Gillette, this is the razor company that has been around for over a century. They're actually owned by Procter & Gamble. They put an ad out basically covering the Me Too movement with Gillette.
Okay.
And if you look at, I don't want to give it away, but I'll just tell you about it to guide the conversation. It was basically saying this men can do better, but yeah, they mentioned Terry Crews. There was a clip of his testimony in which you know how I feel about him. and different various things. But basically the way the ad looks, the way that the ad looked was trying to portray men in a negative light. And when you've had Judge Joe Brown on your show, we've always talked about, he's always talked about how there's an attack on heterosexual men, on masculinity in general. Well, women, there are a lot of women who like their men to be masculine. So there's nothing wrong with masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
But what you have today, you got these feminazis. I'm just going to tell it like it is. These feminazis, you have lesbians, you have, moist men that are pushing this crap. And if you go on the YouTube channel, the video has been viewed, I believe, last I saw, over 7 million times, and it has over 250,000 dislikes versus 20,000 likes.
You said, I mean, it has more dislikes?
It has more dislikes than likes, yes, that's a fact. And in fact, YouTube has been accused of actually hiking up the likes because it was so dislikable. So you can't keep force feeding shit like that on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, do the sexual assault and rape exist in this country? Yeah, absolutely. Do we need to address it? Yeah. But not to this level that you're putting it in a category like men are all heterosexuality is bad or all men are dogs. You know, keep in mind, a lot of women think that they just sprouted from their mothers, but the father had to plant the seed. You know, there are girls that need, you know, they need both a mother and a father. They need that, and they love their fathers to give them that, you know, men give a sense of security with a woman. You know, they feel safe and protected. So you got to be tough. You can be tough, and you can also be sensitive as well. But it's I'm just saying, it's an all-out war. Don't be surprised. I think in the next 20 years, I think heterosexuality is going to be outlawed. I think that we're going to be having, I think, you know, they're having babies already through test tubes. They'll find a way. It'll be almost like the movie Demolition Man, if you go back when with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
Mm-hmm.
When they weren't having sex anymore, and when Sylvester Stallone was with Sandra Bullock, and he asked her, how do you procreate? Or, you know, because he was, you know, frozen in time.
Right.
But, yeah, they actually have to go to a store and pick it out. They don't give birth anymore. So that's just like the movie Children of Men. If you saw that came out, I think, in 2007, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
You remember there was no, you know, the world was barren because children weren't being reborn. I'm sorry, children weren't replacing weren't standing in as the next generation. And speaking of which, you know, if you look at the basis of, and I'm not knocking, you know, whatever people practice in their homes, but I'm just speaking from a logical and scientific standpoint. How could we put homosexuality with heterosexuality as equal if it can't give breed to the next generation? It's not possible. Am I wrong?
I mean, they got to recruit. They can't reproduce, but they got to recruit. If you got to recruit and you can't reproduce, it's not natural.
Can't reproduce.
So it's not in nature. You got to, yeah.
It's not in nature, and for people that think that I'm wrong for saying that, I don't think bestiality is in nature. I don't think pedophilia is in nature. Now, I'm not trying to compare people like that, and people are going to get mad and think I'm being homophobic, but, you know, I think there are a lot of people that are heterophobic if we're going to play the name game. Because homophobia, you know, there is no mental disease known as homophobia. But when you say phobia, that means a fear. That's what it actually comes from a Latin word, and it means the state of fear. You know, there's arachnophobia, there's hydrophobia, and arachnophobia, as you know, is fear of spiders. Mm-hmm. Hydrophobia, fear of water. There's aerophobia, where people are afraid of flying. You know, things like and heights and so forth, things of that nature. And yeah, there is something, and there's even something called xenophobia, which is real. But I don't fear gay people. But if you ask me my opinion, you know, I think marriage, the definition of marriage, just me, is a man and a woman, just because by the very definition, matrimony, state of motherhood. You know, how can two men be a mother?
Oh, well.
A man can maybe a mother, two men may be a mother, but no, they can't be a mother.
Right, well.
By definition. But you know, they're changing those laws now. They're changing definitions. Did you see the video that's been floating around Christmas with the transgender that was in GameStop? and blew up when supposedly a clerk kept calling. This guy was about, well, he's a trans person. He's a man, but he dresses like a woman, right? And he considers himself a woman. And I guess the guy kept calling him sir instead of ma'am. And he said, "You motherfucker," in a deep voice, "You motherfucker, I am a woman. I'll fucking get you."
I have not seen that, but
and when you see it, and it's the oxymoron.
I just,
I couldn't believe. Right, but people will get mad at me for laughing at that. People will get mad at me for calling it like it is and saying this is insane.
Yeah.
And it's not hate. What I'm preaching to you is not hate at all. But I think there's a plot, against heterosexual men in particular. I think black men get it worse. I know they get it worse. And this is the next thing. Obviously, we're going to talk about what we've been seeing going on in the news lately. There's clearly an agenda at foot.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's definitely an agenda, but I think it reminds me when you talk about that transgender person getting mad at the other person because they could not see that person as a woman. It reminds me of the Pat generation, like Pat, that skit from Saturday Night Live, where the person you couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, but the person's name was Pat. And you didn't know how to address it as a he or she. And then you got this thing where they use pronouns now. We not a he or she, we they. The they
We're
thing.
side gender. If you're straight, I believe you're side gender.
Yeah, I see games, man.
I do have a question though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that in some countries, and even in the United States, I know in California, they want children to be able to. They are pushing. I've seen this for children to decide what sex they want to be at a young age. That gender should be neutral. That they should decide and choose what they want. I know in Minnesota, I believe, or it could have been Michigan, I'm not sure, they wanted to get rid of the McDonald's toys where they designated for boys and girls. They want to remove that. They actually tried to pass legislation for that. So my question is that if we're doing this, if you're saying that a child at a young age should be able to determine, the gender that they want, if that's legal, then, and they can decide what sex they want to be, well, why can't they have sex with an adult? If you're going to pull that game.
Well,
I mean, I'm in favor of that. I just want to be clear. But if we're doing one thing where we're saying children should decide something that, from when I was a kid, like sex changes and so forth, was something that you made as an adult, but you're allowing children, kids under 18 to make that decision when they're young. You have the 3-year-old girl that wants to be a boy. There's a TV show, I Am Jazz, where, I think this girl is I think this was a boy, he was 12 or 11 years old. Like, what direction, we are lost as a generation of people right now. There's no morality in the world. Everything that was once good is now bad, and now bad is good. And even if you read your Bible, they even talk about stuff like that. When Christ said, when it would be in the times of the Son of Man, it'd also be like in the days of Noah and the days of Lot. And, there was confusion. People did what they wanted to do. And, society was turned upside down. There was no morality. What you're saying now is that the sky isn't blue, the sky is red. The sky can be whatever color I want to be. Doesn't matter what logic says, doesn't matter what my eyes say. If I say it's red, it's red. If I say something is down, if I think it's down, it's really up, that's what I think is down.
I mean, go ahead.
And, I've done videos lately, and we're talking about this. Obviously, you want to ask me something, Brother Ron, about what, R. Kelly or something?
No, you can get into that. Everybody got an opinion about R. Kelly. I mean, you can't win on that one because if you speak logic on the R. Kelly thing, people accuse you of defending R. Kelly.
Yeah,
So if I would see logic on that, you defend R. Kelly.
I've had that happen. I've actually lost, well, he's not a friend anyway, but people on Facebook, you can watch, and I'm sure you've read the comments that from the post that I put.
I'll go back and read it. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Well, I said, my thing is, if we have Surviving R. Kelly, will there be a documentary on Surviving Charlie Sheen? Or Surviving Donald Trump? Surviving Jerry Lee Lewis? Surviving, Brian Singer? If I stop watching, well, let's look at this. Okay. Do you know right now with this whole R. Kelly thing, they're pulling, I've seen artists from Celine Dion, she's pulling her songs she did with R. Kelly. Lady Gaga is apologizing for working with him for the song that they did. Nick Cannon, I think, even apologized. Now, I respect Nick Cannon. This is not a shot at him. Mm-hmm. But I think these guys are being hypocritical. Because everybody, at least going back in the early 90s, now maybe not me because I was about 8 years old around the time, that was in 94, 93. R. Kelly has been around, since the actual late 80s when he was with that group.
No public announcement.
And he broke up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when he went solo, everybody knows he messed with Aaliyah. But then when you look at it, what did Aaliyah's parents do? What were the adults that were standing there? Like, I couldn't even stomach watching the docu-series because I thought I was sick. But if you listen to it, like I saw one episode, R. Kelly's manager stated that he gave Aaliyah a fake ID so that she could get married. And it's my understanding that this was also Aaliyah's uncle, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But they say the uncle worked with R. Kelly as well. Now, he saw them get married. This is the manager. This is what he said in the episode. I just watched this part. But and he didn't say anything until now with the docuseries, but when you get married, there's a part where the priest or the justice of the prime minister, the priest or the minister or the justice of the peace asks the witnesses, whosoever thinks that this couple shouldn't be married, speak now and forever hold your peace. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't say anything? The girl that saw Aaliyah supposedly having sex with R. Kelly on the tour bus, as the adult, she saw a 14-year-old having sex with a 29-year-old man and didn't stop to think, hey, wait a minute, what the hell are you doing? And raised hell immediately. Same thing with the aunt who says that was her daughter, her niece that was in the video. They kept performing with this man. So what this guy, getting back to it, when the manager spoke about that, giving Aaliyah the ID, what he basically admitted to was he was an accomplice to R. Kelly and the shit he was doing. Same thing with the woman's part. Same thing with the woman that saw him on the bus. If she's saying what she's saying is true, they all, are accomplices. They're no different than he is, what he is. But they wanted to be with him so that they can make money, till it benefited them. Same thing with the people that collaborated with him on his song. And if we're going to pull R. Kelly's songs because of what he's being accused of, by virtue, I think we should pull the X-Men movies because Bryan Singer directed the X-Men movies. I think you could pull The Usual Suspects. Pull Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Hell, pull Superman Returns. But then again, nobody saw that. I don't think that even matters. But but you see the hypocrisy. We're not a nation built on capitalism and racism. We're a nation that's built on hypocrisy. We get on our moral high road. I can't, again, it's not about defending R. Kelly. It's just seeing this stuff. And you see, I learned tonight, I didn't know this, but the guy who played in Miami Vice, who played Crockett on the TV show, is it Don Johnson?
Yeah, Don Johnson, yeah.
Right. Melanie Griffin was 14 when they met, and he was 22 years old. She moved in with him when she was 15.
That's like some Paul Walker stuff right there.
Elvis Presley. So we got to go. Is it about R. Kelly, or is it just about an agenda that you're trying to push? Is it about really pedophilia saving victims, or is it about Lifetime making money? Lifetime made ratings shot up by over 1.7 million that night. All of those nights that docuseries aired. And I had people argue with me talking about they're giving these victims a chance. You don't know what you're talking about. I said, how the hell you know that they're going to get the fucking money? How you know when Sparkle dropped that single at the end of the series, all that money going to the victims? You heard of Foundation? Did you hear Foundation? Have you anybody heard about a foundation that they're going to give to these girls that have been victimized by him? Have you?
I mean, I don't know, man. Everything's over.
I thought Gloria Allred is back.
A.L.L? I mean, she always been there.
But no, what I'm saying is that every time you always see her. Whenever you see these black celebrities get in trouble, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, she's like an ambulance chaser, so that's her job.
That's exactly what the fuck she is. And she's actually been investigated. There have been complaints about her from the California bar about stuff she's done.
But what have they done? I mean, I'm sure people have been complaining about her for years, though. But what has been done? Like, it's like an Ed Buck thing.
I don't think anything's been done. I mean, ask Judge Joe Brown about her. He's met her.
Well, he talked about her, but what I'm saying is, see, Malcolm said something that was very powerful. I don't think people really study Malcolm X. I'm being honest with you. People say they're fans of Malcolm, but they're not really fans. You ask a person today, what's their favorite Malcolm X speech or quote? They can't tell you, but they say they're fans. But when he was on UC Berkeley's TV show, whatever, back in '63, he talked about how black folks are so dependent. We like the only group of people that's so dependent on our entertainers to be leaders. I like Nick Cannon, but I don't look at him as no leader. I don't look at none of them as being leaders. Matter of fact, a lot of them.
He's an entertainer.
Well, he does stuff in the community. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a prodigy of Dick Gregory, but they got their place. They can't. They're too dependent on this system the way it is. Like, this has never been about morality. This has been about money making.
Nick Cannon is an astute businessman.
Yeah, it's about money.
I respect him.
It's not about morality.
I respect him. And a lot of things he's done and said, I've agreed with. But I didn't agree necessarily with him just apologizing for doing the song Gigolo. Like, look, you did a video with R. Kelly. I'm pretty sure you heard rumors about it. And truth be told, R. Kelly, just like with Michael Jackson, none of us were in O.J. Simpson. None of us were there to see what the hell went on. I'm not defending. The video was out there. When I was in high school, and there were apparently people that had been talking about him for years, but nobody said anything. But I remember when Chappelle made jokes about him with the Piss on You video.
Right.
I remember Mad TV did the joke about the world's greatest statutory rapist that Ari Spears did. I think you can find it on YouTube. Everybody saw this, and he went to trial. Just like Michael, just like O.J., he was acquitted. When it came to trial, the star witness, who they said was in the video, she didn't testify. Her parents didn't cooperate. They said at the grand jury when they gave grand jury testimony, when the girl gave grand jury testimony, she said, that's not me on the video. So even if it were R. Kelly on there, And it was another girl. If they could not identify the victim, they had to quit him. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit, right?
I mean, that's what a logical thinking would tell you.
Well, yeah. So, but that's what it is. If I couldn't prove it, and the prosecutors, unfortunately, they couldn't prove it, that was the end of it. But R. Kelly should have been dealt with a long time ago if he was doing this stuff and people were there and saw it.
That if it was about morality, that was about money. As long as the money and the checks came in good.
It's about money.
It's always about money. We got to stop this morality argument. It's never about morality. I mean, people keep on trying to make this case for morality. Follow the money and you see why nobody said nothing. It's like the Vatican. The Vatican should not even exist right now for all the sex crimes done to humanity in the name of the church. But yeah, you got 1 billion followers of this organization. People still give their kids to the priest. A lot of these priests be abusing the kids. This has been going on for generations. So I can't take none of this stuff seriously, man. It's all about money.
Right. Well, I'll just tell you, you know me, I'm Catholic myself. I've been to Catholic school. I can just tell you, I never had no priest touch me. And if they did, they would have been clocked.
So you're an exception, though. I mean, but I'm saying, like, I like R. Kelly.
It's not just me. Look, I know some priests, black and white, who are great in the community, individuals. But like what R. Kelly was saying, the Archdiocese of New Orleans, a few months, not even a few months, but last month, the Archbishop Gregory A.L.L, he released a list of all of the priests that were visible evidence to support they did something, or they're deceased. Some of them are still alive, but that they accused of these things. He released all of their names. Now, locally, it was talked about, but you're not going to hear about that on a national level. We do hear about it on a national level, but you're not going to see. Are you going to see the same outrage that you saw with the R. Kelly docuseries that came out? Are there going to be people standing outside the Archdiocese throwing rocks like at the studio, like they did? At the seminary, like they did at R. Kelly's studio? Probably not. No, you're not going to see that. I saw and I heard about this with the father of one of the girls that was taken hostage. He's out there throwing rocks at the studio and so forth. If somebody had my daughter, you think I would actually be outside the fucking studio? I'd break that shit down. That's why I think all of this is about money. And if you listen to it again, some of these parents even admitted they brought their children there. The girl who's supposedly still with him, that's part of the sex. Her last name is Savage. If I'm not mistaken. She was at the concert with 2 other women bouncing and dancing to the music. TMZ had a video. And even admitted they brought them there. So wait a minute. And this was in 2013 or 2014. She was 18, 19 years old. Now legally, she's an adult. She's an adult now. So if she's with him, that's not a crime. That part is not a crime. If he's doing something else, if he's actually, doing trafficking and so forth, I don't know about that. I just haven't seen that evidence. You hear things, but do I hear something? Does that mean it's necessarily true? No. But again, when we talk about there's no morality, what are parents doing bringing these children there if you've heard things about R. Kelly? Like Michael Jackson. Why did they bring their kids to Neverland in 2004, 2005 when they heard about 1993? See, I remember that.
Well, my thing about people talking about the parents, I'm looking at institutions. I mean, after Michael Jackson the first time around, I can remember Make-A-Wish Foundation and other charitable organizations bringing busloads of kids to Neverland Ranch. Not just individual families. But what I'm saying is, this is what I want people to think. And a lot of times I don't get into debates on social media. I don't do that. It's a waste of my time. I already got to deal with people talking bad about me on YouTube. That's okay. But here's the thing. I try to make things as simple as possible. Dennis Hastert, who was the Speaker of the House when Bill Clinton was going through his troubles with the heterosexual oral sex act with Lewinsky. He was the Speaker of the House, right? He was a Republican from Illinois. He was one of the leaders of the witch hunt, the lynch mob against Bill Clinton. Whatever you think about Bill Clinton, what they did was abuse of power as it relates to the impeachment stuff. Come to find out, he was a high school wrestling coach who was molesting boys for years. He was found guilty of molesting boys. Now, he's a powerful Republican white man from the state of Illinois. R. Kelly is a functional illiterate music superstar from the state of Illinois. They both had trials within the last 15, 20 years, right? They found R. Kelly not guilty, but they found this other guy very guilty. And when he was released from prison back in December of 2017, everything I say could be found online. I'm just tired of trying to spoon feed our people. Our people are sick.
And what's his name?
His name is Dennis Hastert or something like that.
Okay,
just look him up.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
He's actually was friends, I believe, with Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, that Pizzagate stuff, whatever. But the judge told him when they released him from prison, he said, look, you cannot be around anybody under the age of 18 without the proper adult supervision. So for the rest of his life, he cannot be around people under the age of 18 without supervision. R. Kelly was, R. Kelly, I mean, he was found now guilty. People got this thing, I don't understand. Al Capone could have killed a whole room of motherfuckers, but they never found him guilty in the court of law of killing anybody. So by legal definition, he's not a murderer. Just like by legal definition, R. Kelly is not a pedophile, neither is Michael Jackson. See, that's what I disagree with the judge about. He's a lawyer, he's a prosecutor, a judge, but I just can't go around. It's not like it was like what Denzel said in Training Day. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. If you cannot prove it by the legal system, then what you're going to do is you're going to destroy my character. Instead of assassinating me like they did Dr. King, you're going to destroy my character in the court of public opinion.
Right.
And my legacy.
This is just right. Well, I mean, that's the Judge Joe Brown's opinion. My opinion, I think there's more. I'll put it like this: there was more stuff on R. Kelly than it was Michael or Bill Cosby. Just my opinion and things that I looked at, but at the same time, you're right. They were acquitted. Now with Michael, I think that was going on. First and foremost, and let's talk about Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1993. Okay, I've heard, and I've had the information on this. When he settled, he didn't actually settle. What happened was that his insurance company settled for him.
Okay.
And at the time, who was representing Michael Jackson in that incident? It was Johnny Cochran and Carl Douglas. And and of course, everybody knows that Carl Douglas and Johnny Cochran represented O.J. subsequently the next year in the 94 murder trials.
Mm-hmm.
And legally speaking, O.J. Simpson is not a murderer either because he was acquitted, like I said. But it doesn't stop the media from browbeating us into accepting that. So with Michael, okay, there was a videotape or audio tape of the father. His name is Evan Chandler. People can go look this up. Evan Chandler was a dentist, and he was a dentist to a lot of Hollywood stars. The woman that played Carrie Fisher, she played Princess Leia in the Star Wars movies, right? She just died recently.
Mm-hmm.
She wrote in her book some things about him and how she thought how crazy the man was. But there's a tape of Evan Chandler around the time his son Jordan, is accusing Michael of child molestation. Evan Chandler was recorded by, I believe, his ex-wife, or someone he knew that said, I'm going to get everything I can out of this man. I'll be able to accomplish everything I want. He won't have any career. He won't be doing anything. You can go look this up. This came on television. It was played all over, everywhere. And of course, the reason why it was that in the 90s, Michael Jackson was at the height of his career. He was probably the most recognizable person on the face of this earth. I think second only to Muhammad Ali. Ali is the greatest. But Michael was that big. So if someone did something to your child, does that sound like a parent that was concerned about his child, or did it sound like someone that was interested in money? It sounded like someone was interested in money. So, to me, he was a greedy bastard. In actuality, after Michael died, Evan Sandler committed suicide. Well, that was the official cause of death. Now when you fast forward to 2005, and I talked to and listened to Scott Ross. Scott Ross was Michael Jackson's, the private investigator for Tom Mesereau, who represented Michael Jackson. He also, of course, they represented Bill Cosby later on. Well, in the 2005 case, if you remember, when Michael got arrested, the feds were raiding Neverland along with the sheriffs out there in Santa Monica. And Dick Gregory has told you this before. What were the feds doing if it was a state crime? Why were they there? Well, the oldest stereotype in America that they have is to make a black man a sexual predator. And, that he's going to do something to a white woman. In this case, what they did with Michael, they said he's doing something to this boy, but they found out that the Orvizio, or his name is Gavin Orvizio. Why does he have my first name? I don't know. But the Orvizio family, they had tried to run cons on different people. Even Chris Tucker warned Michael about him. And Jay Leno testified, Chris Tucker had to testify on Michael's behalf. They had warned about scams that they were tried to pull. They had Larry King, I think, testified because they were trying. The boy supposedly had cancer and things of that nature. Who knows? But they were able to catch them in so many lies. Now they have this documentary that's supposed to be coming on HBO that aired at the Sundance Film Festival. I'm sure you've heard about it, about Michael being this pedophile to two boys, Wade Robinson and I can't think of the name, is Jamie Schmitz. I could be mistaken. But Wade Robinson, what's interesting about him was that in the 2005 trial, he testified on behalf of Michael. And he denied Michael ever did anything wrong to him. So now Michael dies in 2009, and Michael Jackson is one of the highest paid celebrities, dead celebrities. His estate is valued at $850 million. And then Wade Robinson all of a sudden comes and says, you know what, I lied. He did molest me. Same thing with this man. And their cases have been dismissed in court. So now they're airing a documentary that's coming on HBO.
Well, I mean,
fuck out of here, man.
It's all about money, man. I mean, everything's about money.
It was about his catalog. Michael Jackson at that time, and anybody can look this up, Michael Jackson was trying to acquire the rights. He had already had the Sony ATV catalog. He owned half of Sony, but he was also trying to acquire the rights to Marvel Comics. He was also talked about trying to get Universal Studios. So you just think about this. This black man who is, the most popular and biggest celebrity of all time he owns the parts of Elvis and the Beatles music. He also owns half of Sony. You have the Marvel Comics. You have Marvel Comics, and you also have Universal Studios that he could have acquired. Just think about that. Think of he would have basically been the richest man on earth.
Like Mansa Musa.
Mansa Musa. To the 10 power. He's a dancing
and you know what happened to him, right?
Mansa Musa?
Yeah.
No, what happened to him?
I mean, he basically disappeared from history. Nobody knows what happened except the people who got rid of him.
Got rid of him, yeah. Right. He was wealthy. He was wealthier than Bill Gates and this guy Jeffrey Bezos, who owns Amazon.
I don't know, Jeffrey Bezos or Bezos, whatever the name.
Bezos, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Mr. Musa had it.
Man on earth, but
yeah, he's the richest man on earth.
yeah.
Okay.
But not anymore because he's getting divorced.
Oh well, there's always a woman, ain't it? A woman and money.
He's gonna be the half. He's gonna have half riches.
Well, you know, Michael Jordan. Well, I know Michael Jordan did that divorce some years ago to his first wife. I mean, I think he rebounded nicely, but he gave a lot of money away, gave a lot of assets away, whatever.
Steven Spielberg's wife, his first wife, gets rights to all of his movies.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, Amy Heckling, I believe she was in Carrie.
Okay, well, hey.
Right. She had like one of the richest divorce settlements in history.
No, she survived to tell the tale, huh? And reap the reward.
Yeah, she's still alive. Yeah,
so, and she ain't been knocked off.
Right. Yeah, man. And so it's all interesting. I mean, look what they did with Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
You know, there's a documentary. I saw part of it. Lady, You Shot Me. Did you hear about that?
No, it just came out recently.
It came out in 2017, 2018, I believe.
So,
I don't know where you can find it.
Lady, You Shot Me.
It may be online. You could Google it and find it. I don't know if you can order it on Amazon, probably, but your followers should look at it. I've watched it, but they go in detail and depth about Sam's death and questions about it. But remember, Sam Cooke was trying to acquire the rights to his publishing. He told Fats Domino, "No white man will ever own my music." And sure enough, that's what happened to him.
No,
his manager owns who died in 2009 actually owns music, and his manager managed both the Beatles and the Rolling Stones.
He messed them over too, from what I understand it.
I'm sorry?
He messed them over financially, or he did some little interesting things.
Yeah, the family doesn't own that. Just like James Brown family doesn't even own his music.
See, here's the thing, though. The most powerful people in the music business are normally the lawyers. I mean, because Sam Cooke's business manager was a lawyer, and Clyde Davis is a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the guys that end up owning everything. The people who write the contracts out and all this other stuff. And think about Death Row Records with Suge Knight in jail, but Dave Kenner, he got his money, I'm sure. The lawyer for Death Row.
Stevie Wonder's attorney, I read Stevie Wonder's attorney gets a percentage of his lawyer. I read an article a couple years ago, and maybe they got it overturned or not, but Stevie Wonder was being robbed by his attorney because he had a clause in it that, he got a percentage of every song Stevie Wonder wrote, even though he didn't have anything to do with the damn song. He took advantage of a blind man.
Well, yeah, they robbed him blind, but what about the people around him that was eating off him for years? How come they couldn't catch that for Stevie? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The people who had been, what I'm saying is, it's interesting because that's not unusual practice.
But a lot of people don't know law. Like when you come up, you gotta realize something about Motown. Most of those guys that came up, they weren't trained in law school and knew about contracts and so forth. They basically relied on someone's word. When they saw that, and not just Motown. I'm just talking about any record company. Whether it's Motown, whether it's Stax, whether it's Brunswick. They relied on those, their words to do things, and, it didn't happen. Now, when you fast forward, you look in the 80s when they had Ruthless Records and Jerry Keller was managing NWA. Mm-hmm. Ice Cube and Dr. Dre were the ones that caught everything he was doing. They were the most successful. Well, the Ice Cube was the first one that caught it. Mm-hmm. So then when he wanted him to sell over all of the rights to his song, and Ice Cube refused to. See, Ice Cube was smart, and look what he's doing now.
Right.
I think Dr. Dre was able to survive it because he saw the insides of the game. And he found, he worked with Suge, founded Death Row, then did Aftermath, brought on Eminem, and, started Beats and so forth. Yeah, multi-billionaire.
I mean, he rebounded well.
Yeah, they do well. But I'm going to tell you who's going to, I honestly think next on the list, because it happens like every year and a half, they got to get at least 2 black men out there. I think Jay-Z is going to be next.
I mean, it's possible. They say the
He's
wealthiest.
already being investigated. But he's already being investigated out in Norway over his title company.
It comes with the territory, man. Like, they gonna vet you. They gonna test you. They're gonna test you and vet you and bully you to a certain extent. It comes with the territory. But he got a big target on his back.
What did Eddie Griffin say? What did Eddie Griffin say when he was being interviewed on Vlad TV when they talked about Bill Cosby? He said every black male entertainer image will have an asterisk by it. Kobe Bryant raped a white woman in Colorado. Cosby raped 60-something women and still counting. Michael Jackson messed with little boys. You know, O.J. kills 2 white women. Everybody gets something. Now, I've listened to people that'll say, well, Samuel Jackson is clean, Will Smith's clean. I said, it ain't happened yet.
They try to get Morgan Freeman.
Still time.
Yeah.
They tried to get Morgan. Yeah. Hell, they tried to get Doc Bridges. Now, you know they're desperate.
Yeah. But
Doc Bridges, really?
Well, my thing is that too, though. Black folks, I mean, I just like black men and black women being mad at each other is a lost cause because really we both victims. I can't protect my ass, so I can't protect our assets. If a black man can't protect his ass or testicles, he can't protect his woman. He can't protect his family. So really, we can't protect nothing. So we're victims, asking for the victimizer to have mercy on us. That's where we at right now as black people. So it's very sad. And I could just look and observe and just know it's a sad time because one thing about some of these white folks, they vicious. You don't get what they got and hold on to it by being kind and going to church 7 days a week. That doesn't happen. They vicious.
Right. Well,
they ruthless. They unforgiving, and they don't give a damn. As long as they family eating and eat for generations. With black people, we looking for forgiveness and for this afterlife thing. To me, I think it's silly because I'm not thinking this. Look, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be kind to you. I'm gonna be good because I like to treat people right. I'm not looking to go to heaven. I don't care. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That don't matter. I should treat you good because you should treat people right. And one thing, if you're looking for morality, when you should have your own individual code, you should have your own moral code, period. As a person, I know Tariq talk about stay on code. There is no code. There is no honor among thieves. Black folks don't have no uniformity or solidarity. We're too busy trying to be a part of this rat race. We like rats on the sinking Titanic. That's how black folks are right now. We can't protect our ass. We can't protect our family. We can't protect nothing.
It's true in a large degree because, no, we don't stay on code. But every other group, I mean, look.
But what is the code, though?
Well, wait, let me finish. When you had the shooting of Akia Gurley out in New York, right? It was by Peter Leanne. It was an Asian cop, right?
Yeah.
What happened? All the Asian community came out and rallied behind him to protect him from being indicted. And a black prosecutor declined to press charges. Okay? They stay on code. Even with these hair salons that you see, all of these sisters getting beat up, like I saw in Oklahoma, when a sister that got beat up, and the black men came out in the community to protest. But then you saw the hood rats. I'm just going to be real. There was one I'm not saying all black, and let me be clear. I'm not calling all black women that lived out there that, but this one in particular, hood rat, and because she was screaming and hollering at the black men protesting, trying to protect her from going in there, calling out what they did.
Right.
See, that's the type of shit you got to deal with. And you know what? If I was on that picking line, I would have walked off. said, I'm not gonna waste my time with this shit.
I
Let
would.
them go in there and spend their money. You don't go in there. You go in there, and they spent their money on stuff first and foremost where we black people spend so much money on hair. We don't even get that money put it back in our pockets. It goes right to them and to their families. I'm just being real. That's just the truth. They took 50% off the next day, which is why you saw all of those long lines. It didn't matter that that man assaulted a black woman, but there was no outrage to that. But there was outrage to get Kareem Hunt kicked off the Kansas City Chiefs.
What?
You know, and my understanding was she had actually assaulted the other guests, even his girlfriend, called them a nigger, and kept doing it. Now, yeah, he could have handled it much better. But, you know, I was listening to people saying, well, he could have left. Well, that's his house. That's his apartment. He didn't have to leave.
So it was not a hotel. It was an apartment place?
Well, it could have been a hotel or apartment, but even if it was a hotel, if it's his room, you know, he has a right to be there. Hotel, apartment, if he's renting it, it's his room, he has a right to be there. She doesn't. She was just a guest. Or if my understanding, she was actually the friend of one of the guests. I'm not sure. And, you know, another thing, too, that I understand is that she was underage trying to drink, which if Kareem or any other person would let her go out there and had they been driving drunk just for the sake of argument, you know, she gets hurt, who's going to get in trouble? Kareem, right?
I mean, black man can't win.
He would be the likely target. Why? Because he, aside from being a black male, he's also got money, right? So he would have been sued. So I mean, when he told her to leave, and you know, she had to go, and that's why there weren't any charges pressed on him. They listened to what the witnesses said. They didn't press charges.
He's not playing football.
He's not playing football, but when you get on shows like ESPN, Fox Sports, I know deep down some of those black men that are on there, they know what the hell is up. Like they just can't talk like how we talk here on the phone or how we talk in a barbershop about what really happened and how they really feel about it.
But why they can't do that though? I mean, they make a choice not to do that.
I think they make a choice because they want that paycheck.
Exactly. So that's why I don't look at them as being leaders. I'm sorry. I don't.
Right. Stephen A. Smith is the last nigga that could tell me about you know, what black people need to do. He needs to shut his ass up.
I don't have no problem with Stephen A. expressing himself. Like he does talk about racism sometimes in professional and collegiate sports. But my whole problem is
he has steps, Ron. He has like okay, he'll say some things that are good. But then when he came at Kevin Durant
about I guess a couple years ago.
Yeah, but then when the Ray Rice incident and that girl, Michelle Beadle, you know, basically called him out and he had to get on national TV and apologize.
Cause he didn't have to do that. He chose to do that, right? That was his choice.
Because he worried about that paycheck. He
wants
to try and
everything's about money, man. Everything's about money.
But George Jefferson had cut.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is these folks can't take a stand because they worry about some paychecks or they worry about their money. Right. Everything is it's not about morality. I'm not going to tell people how to think about this. Like Kareem Hunt, my thing is he's a physical specimen. He could have did that girl a lot worse. He showed a lot of restraint for being a football player and to be the physical specimen that he is. And yet that still doesn't matter. He could be like Michael Clark Duncan in Green Mile. Right. Well, I mean, he could be like Michael Clark Duncan in Green Mile. It still wouldn't matter. He's guilty as hell. And they killed Michael Clark Duncan in Green Mile.
What I'm saying to you Right. But what I'm saying to you, like with Stephen A. Smith, remember also when Mark Cuban made the comments about the black man in the hoodie and the white man with all bald-headed white man with tattoos, and he defended Mark Cuban, and he said, I don't give a damn who in the black community is offended by me. Versus when he makes the comment and offends a white woman, he apologizes. See, that's the shit. That's the thing that gets me.
But why should it get you if black people are not protected like Jews and gays are? We're not a protected class of people in this system.
No, but that's the thing with him, that they are picked by these networks to represent me, and they don't represent me.
I would say stop supporting it.
They don't speak for you. They don't speak to me.
I agree. Here's my thing. This is why black folks like punishment. We're gluttons for punishment in the system. I have not watched a Lifetime documentary or mockumentary. I call it a mockumentary. And I don't have any plans on watching it anytime soon because I can recall when all this stuff came out with R. Kelly vividly when I was in college. And I still listen to R. Kelly music. I remember last week I was at a very popular restaurant in Memphis. They had ESPN on. They had the radio on. R. Kelly came on. I didn't hear nobody say, take that pedophile motherfucking crap out the stereo. People were dancing. Right. They were laughing. They were singing the lyrics to the song. They were tapping their toes and nodding their head.
Right.
So this is this false outrage because people been knowing about this for years. And my thing is, everything's about money. Cash rules everything around me. Cream. That's why that song was so damn popular, still relevant. It's not about morality.
Right. Well, the thing is this, too. Yeah, it's all about money. It's about, it's about what music makes you feel good. So R. Kelly's music, when you take a guy, and Minister Farrakhan was even praising R. Kelly despite his flaws. He was like, no, he said, for a man to write a song like I Believe I Can Fly, and I read that he wrote that when he saw Michael Jackson. He wrote that for Space Jam. That's actually really my first memory of R. Kelly. Was that song, hearing that in the movie Space Jam. That was about when I was 9 or 10 years old. He had The World's Greatest. He wrote that about who? Muhammad Ali.
Right.
For a man to write songs like that comes from something. But, your body's calling. But if you look at his movies, his videos, everything other than those songs was always most of his songs were all about sex or making love. Everybody knew, he was telling you stuff. Now, if I got to stop listening to R. Kelly's music, if they're going to pull it off Spotify, then I need Spotify to be responsible and hold the same principles to their other white artists who've been accused. I mean, Ted Nugent's been accused of doing stuff with underage girls. Okay. I mean, Elvis Presley married Priscilla when he was met Priscilla when he was in the army, right? Priscilla.
She was a teenager, right? She was a teenager when they met, regardless of where it was at. She was a teenager. He was a grown man. Jerry
Lee Lewis is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but he married 2 of his cousins that were underage.
Well, my thing, I think I don't expect people to be saints. I expect people to be flawed. I expect people to be human. And it doesn't take away from their accomplishments. Correct. It's like Wagner. Wagner, one of the greatest, composers of all time. He was a huge anti-Semitic. He was Hitler's favorite, composer. And he was they don't take away from the greatness of his music, though. He's one of the world's greatest composers. I'm just saying, the cherry picking.
Jimmy Stewart, for instance, is I respect his military service. He's one of the greatest actors of all time, but I've heard he was a vehement racist.
Hey, he's a white man. That makes sense to me. I don't expect him to be nothing else. Because I'm going to tell you something, this system of privilege, all white folks by default are racist. See, racism ain't emotional. Racism is about, is about politics and power. If you are in a position of politics and power, I don't have to give you none. I don't have to give you my leverage. It's like I look at Miles Davis. I think about Miles Davis today. He married Cicely Tyson. I can't imagine Miles Davis beating up on Cicely Tyson. She came back towards the end of his life to be with him while he was dying. but he was known to be an abuser of women, or was he abusing women? Why did they stay around him if he hitting you with the trumpet and stuff? I don't understand that. It does not take away from Pound the Blue or Birth of the Cool. It doesn't take away from his music.
Right. I mean, James Brown has been accused of domestic violence.
Well, Tammy Terrell,
the Godfather of Soul.
Yeah, Tammy Terrell, and they say him and David Ruffin.
Tammy Terrell, not even Tammy Terrell, but also his other wife.
Yeah, but you got to look at where he come. Well, James Brown, you got to look at where he come from. He came out the whorehouse, like Richard Pryor, like Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong's mom was a prostitute. You know, they got a love-hate relationship with women based on their relationship with their mothers. So, but they don't take away from their music, though. What I'm saying is, I'm just tired of people being hypocrites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care. These are people. They flawed.
Right. Right. I mean, you wouldn't. They're not going to take Chinatown off of AFI's greatest films of all time because Roman Polanski is a convicted.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. No, shouldn't.
He was allowed to flee the country.
Yeah, and he got. You remember he had people in Hollywood when he got the Lifetime Achievement. He had people like Jack Nicholson and a lot of heavyweights supporting him.
Well,
they supported him.
He didn't get the Lifetime Achievement. He got Best Director for the.
I'm talking years later when they honored him for the Lifetime Achievement at the Oscars. There was a lot of controversy around that. But you had Hollywood heavyweights.
Right.
Oh, for the penis. He did a song. I mean, he did that movie for what? Go ahead. What you said the Oscar
was for the movie. That what they were clapping about was he won an Oscar for actually directing the movie The Pianist.
Yeah, with Adrian what's his name? Brody. Yeah, brother Gavin, you were talking about Roman Polanski and the Oscars.
Right. Well, he was nominated and won the Oscar for Best Director.
Okay.
For The Pianist in 2001. That's when Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep were applauding him.
Okay.
And I remember Harrison Ford, I think, was the one that presented the Oscar. Now, he wasn't, obviously he couldn't be there. Right. But the way I mean, Hollywood is the last place that you would expect to be, is filled with hypocrites. And it's the last place that you'd expect moral high ground. They're the last people that should even talk about morality.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially, that whole, we talk about R. Kelly, but you have a whole pedophile ring that even Corey Feldman was talking about. And Corey Feldman defended Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
But it's all part of an agenda, definitely. As we talked about before, like with going back, to the Gillette commercial that you should check out.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
You should see it is part of a larger plot that's just going on, and people just need to be aware now. What I advise, I like to leave a solution, because often we talk about our problems, but there is nothing offered at the end. We just rant, and I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this on my show last night when I talked about my latest video. I talked about Gloria Allred being on, with the accusers of R. Kelly, which right there, that should tell you it's a scam.
Yeah, I saw it last night too. I enjoyed it. But go ahead.
You enjoyed it?
No, I enjoyed your commentary on the situation. Not Allred, though.
Right.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's a treat. But one of the things I said was everybody should look into how we can get how much money it would cost to look at forming a black network.
Yes.
Look at a business plan. Not I shouldn't say a black network, but a television network. How much money would it cost? Would you need to start up? What's your startup capital? How many employees you're going to have? Where would you put your headquarters? Things of that nature. Is it starting out? Would it be something that, obviously you can do networks online now where you don't need, a satellite dish like you see traditional television stations from back in the day. You can just start something online and that's it. Netflix, started out at first sending DVDs to everybody's house.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they started making their money. And then what did they do? They started doing streaming services, and now they're at the top of their game, and they're raising their prices, which means I might have to look at possibly canceling it if it keeps getting higher.
Right.
Right, but that's what they do, because when they're in high demand, and they can't, they canceled all of their good shows too. But I think that's something that they,
because Disney they launching their streaming services. But, Disney owns the Marvel stuff, the Marvel universe. I guess
Disney owns the Marvel stuff. So that means the Punisher got canceled. I'm not sure. I know Luke Cage, the Iron Fist, and did I say Iron Fist or is that wrong?
That is Iron Fist, I believe. Yeah, they got canceled.
Yeah. I also know Daredevil. They got canceled. Yeah. So I watched. Yeah, but I watched those shows. But what's interesting is that Disney pulled those shows, but right now, if you go on Netflix, you can watch all the Indiana Jones movies. And Indiana Jones, I believe, was owned by Disney.
It's good, man. Yeah, this is a big giant now, conglomerate.
Right. Well, keep in mind, Disney bought, I think, didn't they buy 20th Century?
They probably did. They own ABC. They got ESPN. I mean, it's crazy.
It's a monopoly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, what happens is with Disney owning, Indiana Jones was part of, was created by George Lucas. So George Lucas sold Lucasfilms to Disney.
Right. Because they got Star Wars come out this year, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Star Wars comes out this year. Billy D. Williams is supposedly coming back as Lando Calrissian.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but Indiana Jones was a part of that Lucasfilm. But remember, Indiana Jones was produced under Paramount Pictures, so that might be a loophole. There's a loophole why they're putting that on there.
And also, A&E, Arts and Entertainment, is a part of Disney. A&E, Lifetime is under A&E.
Well,
Lifetime
A&E is also. Well, I thought A&E. I don't even know. A&E and NBC were at one point all part of the parent company, NBC Universal, USA Network. I think Sci-Fi. All of those channels there. Who knows? I mean, Viacom owns BET, VH1, MTV, Nickelodeon.
And Viacom part of CBS too, right? They're part of CBS.
CBS, because if you remember, I remember after 9/11, you remember when it was just Dan Rather talking?
Yeah, and then
you put it on BET, Dan Rather was right there.
With Ed Bradley. That was fun.
Ed Bradley.
Not the situation, but it was funny, like they're doing commentary and Ed Bradley said something to correct Dan Rather about something about, box cutters being weapons or something. This is interesting. But you just outlined that all that stuff showed you why they can't let black folks own any networks. Why Bill Cosby had a hard time getting access
they can't
to
let
own
real black. Right, no.
Right.
And, that's why he got, the thing with NBC. But keep in mind, Bill Cosby is the reason why NBC is not bankrupt today.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the Cosby Show aired in the 80s, in 84, at that time, the family sitcom was thought to be dead. Because what ruled the airways, you had the action shows like Magnum P.I. and, the A-Team was on NBC. You didn't have sitcoms then like back then at the time he started anymore. And he changed that. He brought family orientated television back into the mainstream. And he made black people look good doing it. Now, a lot of black people didn't think that was a real interpretation of a black family. They were going into you talk to some people today, they were like, well, my family was James in Florida, from Good Times. Well, I didn't grow up in the fucking projects.
Right.
I came from a middle-class family, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, people that are from the projects. But you can do both. We can have James in Florida, and you can also have Claire and Cliff. And by the same token, while on his show, he didn't deal with racial issues like I thought maybe he could have. You never saw an episode where Theo got stopped by the police.
Right.
But guess what? He spun off a different world where they talked about, when Ron and Dwayne had that fight with those white group boys after the football game.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Whitley being followed in a jewelry store. You saw the L.A. riots.
Right.
He had stories about HIV, a HIV positive student. Something you never, he's responsible for that.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, and then people forget that. Go ahead.
And, people are mad because he told them to be responsible. I see it in court every day. He was right. Now, maybe how he addressed it was wrong. And, could he, I think he could take I've seen Dr. Cosby say things, Cosby said things about the Trayvon Martin situation I didn't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen him speak specifically about racism directly, but there have been instances where he's talked about it.
Well, I wanted to also interject. There's been things where he was about it as well too. I remember when Cincinnati had that problem with black men being killed by the police up in Cincinnati, and he was one of the first entertainers to boycott Cincinnati. This is around the 2000s, early 2000s. See, my thing is that the reason why black folks, we too emotional. If we really knew who our people were, we'll give them more respect. We don't respect our elders. We don't respect our history. There's no culture to speak of if you don't acknowledge the past. You can't, it's hard for me to talk about Paul Robeson when we don't talk about Paul Robeson. You understand what I'm saying? When Bill Cosby got receipts that should be accounted for, like Tariq talking about, he bring a receipt. We don't even do the research on our own people, and we get mad when they say something that they don't like. It's like they get mad at when I interviewed Charles Evers a couple of times. Medgar Evers' brother, his big brother. People get mad because he's a Trump supporter, he's a Republican, but you don't look at the receipts, man. Look at what he done over his life to try to help black people. They killed his brother, man. They killed his brother at 37. He had to come back to Mississippi.
The work that he put in.
Yeah, the work he put in still does. And what I'm saying is, I don't care. That's why I don't get into it with black people online no more. I look at how toxic it is for black folks on social media. Our people are we're in the arrested development stage. We're like infants. You understand? We don't understand what it is to have responsibility over our lives. We never had real responsibility over our lives. Our bodies are not our own. It never been in this system. We could talk about pull your pants up, but shit, look what they did with Henrietta Lacks. They took her stuff without her consent. Look what they did to black women in the name of gynecology. Look what they done to black men. And continue to do to us. What I'm saying is, why are we mad at each other? Yeah, but why are we mad when we can't? How you gonna say I gotta protect my family when I can't protect my ass?
Because we're trained to do so.
Right, but I'm saying, like in slavery, the mental, you take the strongest black man and buck break his ass in front of his people. You put a stick in his ass. You put a dick in his ass. You do things to break up his family. You have the boy having sex with his mom. All this stuff. You talking about incest. See, this didn't start with R. Kelly. It did not happen in a vacuum. Soon as you say stuff like that, Negroes in their feelings, you defending R. Kelly. You just a self-hating black person. You did it. I don't care about other people. Huh?
You don't feel sorry for them victims. You're a rape apologist.
Right, yeah, you're a rape apologist. I'm going to tell you something. Well, there's a thing. They're all talking about you got to get back to institutions. People want to say it was the parents. I'm telling you, it's the institutions. I had an uncle who passed away 15 years ago, 16, at 40, from AIDS and HIV complications. He was a victim of a well-known child sex predator in the community. The community did not do anything. People knew that this boy was molesting and raping black boys. His sister was bringing boys back to their home to be raped and assaulted. And nobody, the parents. Yeah, but I'm saying, ain't that boggles the mind that you got the black church folks that knew that a prominent professor at the HBCU was busting boys' booty holes, and he's still sitting on the board of directors of the church, and he still got his tenureship at the school. And black folks talk about this, and nobody said, we're going to run these motherfuckers out of the community. We're going to kill them. We're going to force them to turn themselves into police. I mean, my own kinfolk. I was like, you live with yourself like that. What going through your mind? What is happening? It's like I interviewed a guy who.
I think people I think part of it too is, we talked about it, about the complicity, even with the R. Kelly thing, like the manager that gave the fake ID to Leah. It goes back to that. People were trying, probably benefited from it, and from not from it, but it's per se, but from this person, and didn't want to make waves. Some people may be indifferent to it, and some people, they can't fathom, I guess, something like that. Who knows what goes on in people's minds. I'm just thinking that that's probably a reason for it, because, nobody wants to think people could do things like that. But the reality is, Ron, all of this stuff has been going on before even America was founded.
Yeah.
There've always been, you can go outside the United States right now. I just talked about the sex changes that they want to do here in the United States. But if you go outside the United States, you have countries where children can be married, to people 50 years older than them. We're talking about at a young age, from 12 or younger. You have, Nicole just put a video out about them allowing child brides here in the United States. People that come from foreign. Did you know that?
Well, I heard about it, but I mean, it must be true.
Yeah, they're about to allow that, but there's no outrage for that.
That's crazy, man.
Right. It's I talked about this. It's called selective outrage. If you're more, listen, it's not about defending whoever. It's just pointing out what the facts are.
Right.
Yeah. Like, how can I, again, if I take out this person for doing something bad, and then someone else comes along, even if they look different than them, if we're talking about fairness and equality, I got to do the same thing. I can't see, like I said, look at Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's been accused of sleeping with women with HIV.
Right.
Harvey Weinstein. His cases have actually started to get dismissed. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, they've been dismissing some of his cases. His criminal case, he is still active, but part of the charges had to be dropped. So anybody that thinks he's going to get the Bill Cosby treatment had better think again. That's not going to happen. By the way, Bill Cosby, I know coming up on this Friday, I think they're doing the appellate court where they're going to talk about, his appeal, because they did lodge an appeal for him. So I don't know how that will be successful. But, we're trained that way to not think about these things. Nobody thinks about the fact that Lisa Bloom represented the girl. She represented Harvey Weinstein at one point from the stuff that her mother, supposedly is fighting for. But then she had to drop Harvey Weinstein. Why? Because it made her and her mother look like hypocrites.
So it's all about the perception, not the reality. Right. It's all about perception.
So what I'll just say in closing, and like I say, with the solutions, I was talking about looking at the network. Look at all of the startup, how much it would cost. And in the meantime, I encourage everybody to listen to our channel, listen to your channel, We All Be News. Listen to my channel, GBoo2786, Nicole from Nicole's View, Your World, Harvey Superboy, who runs that, Tareen Rain, Professor Black Truth. And there are others who I can't think of right now. I know that outfit that everybody basically puts out a video.
Actually, is Black Truth the same as the Professor Black Truth, the same as the Black Authority? They sound alike almost.
I don't know exactly.
Got the Jekyll Mr. Hyde thing going on over there.
It may be the same. It could be the same person. As I know that Professor Black Truth had to change channels at one point.
Why is that?
But he probably, I think he got suspended. Excuse me for yawning. I think he was suspended. Yeah, it is late. He got suspended for his account. And YouTube is, I even listen to Boyce Watkins from time to time. Some of the things that he says, I agree with. But I think that it's certainly, and they have, there's certainly people out there that people can listen to where they can get, stories from our perspective and understanding. When I do my blogs, I'm just talking about what I see. I can't answer for everyone.
Right.
But a lot of people agree with me, and a lot of people see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's definitely a problem in this country going right now where they're trying to push, anti-male, anti-black male in particular, narrative. And I think that's why you see these documentaries, these mockumentaries, as you call it, coming about. Because we're not going to see male celebrities get the same treatment. They don't get it already. And I'll also say this, get your paper game together, Ron, because I'm trying to do that right now. Because it may come a time, unfortunately, we might have to leave the United States and get the hell out.
I mean, boy, here's my thing, Brother Gavin, about the network. We got people like Byron Allen and Nick Cannon and these people out here. Why can't we just pull? We already got folks making money. Why they just can't pull some money together and make it happen? Like, I could never understand with Bill Cosby, when we got the technology, he could have created some type of online organization to counter the narrative. He never did that. I don't understand how people think.
Well, you got to remember, Bill Cosby is old school. I don't think he knew. I think he was used to doing business deals like he was brought up into when he first started. I don't think he knew. I'm not going to say he doesn't know about the internet, obviously, but
he did some stuff early on. He did some podcasting before on.
Well, yeah, he did, but he's just used to. But you got to remember, he was in his 60s or 70s, so he's set in the times when you make deals, you go walk in there, and you sit at a table across from the other man, and you make your proposals. And that was something he was thinking of. He probably thought he may have been, I won't say immune from racism, but I think he felt, being who he was and who he is, that he definitely knew he had stature when he walked in, because this is a guy that was at one point one of the most famous people who walked Earth, right? Bill Cosby.
Yeah, he's well known.
Yeah, he's well known, and that goes back to the other thing that we were talking about when the accusations, and we've talked about it a long time, but he was also under surveillance at that time by the FBI. From when he was on Richard Nixon's enemies list. So you honestly think, had he been doing these things, that...
See, that's why he had to have his own media platform to tell those stories. I mean, it don't have to be nothing big. See, the point is, he don't have to do it himself. He could have hired some of the best and brightest young minds out there who tech savvy to put together that operation. See, I don't think people understand how to really think. Bill Cosby, to me, it blows my mind, because I'm going to tell you something. When Bugsy Siegel was facing that murder rap in L.A. back in 1941, when he killed one of his friends, Harry Greenberg, for Murder Inc.
Harry Greenbaum, yeah.
Yeah. And
I was actually at the Mob Museum.
Vegas is pretty good. I went there too, and I went. Yeah. But Bugsy told the DA, "I paid you $30,000 to get elected. Give me back my goddamn money." The DA had to give him back his $30,000. He beat the murder rap all the same. What I'm saying is, Bill Cosby should have learned from the mob. You pay for your protection, or you pay somebody. You should have made sure the DA stayed in office who gave you that deal. Really, they really, it wasn't his fault. But I'm saying the office of the DA, they double crossed Bill Cosby. But I don't think Bill Cosby understood how the game was played.
Look, but there's only one thing though. Bugsy Siegel was white and Jewish. If he was black, only reason money he would have given.
No, here's the thing about the Jews.
Same thing with Bill Cosby.
Yeah, but the thing about the Jews though, they started in the ghettos and they organized. It's not about him being white and Jewish; it's about them being organized. And he's not doing it by himself. He's in a group. Bill Cosby out there by himself.
Even if we were organized, we still would have to deal with white
Yeah, but they'll respect you more if you organize and you got a real code.
Well,
You see, we talk about this code. We're not even organized to have a code. We don't even know what the code is. We just saying the word code.
Well,
they actually had codes. Jews actually go by their religion.
Right. They have a code of conduct with each other. And it's not just by religion; it's by community that they have where it's set up. I mean, if you said like we're talking about, I mean, hell, even LGBTQ, they have a community.
Right.
They have a code. I mean, a lot of LGBTQ, they're mad at Kevin Hart for what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of them are. Some of them are mad at him. And then on top of that, you have black men or black women have been assaulted by some LGBTQ members. Do you hear anything from them? Their communities? No. They don't talk about it. Like
who communities don't talk about them? LGBTQ people don't talk about it.
They don't talk about black people getting assaulted by gays. No, like
it's not. Why should they talk about it though?
But my point is, they want you to compare their struggle to yours.
But if we was organized better, we could counter them, and they'll be forced to acknowledge that, hey, we did y'all wrong.
We could.
We don't come from a place of power. What I'm saying is, Ed Buck, if we were organized, Ed Buck would be scared to be out there. He would turn himself in. I'm scared what they might do to me. Who? You know, them people, they organized, they might do something. I want to be protected by the law. Right. See, we don't got to be, we come from a position of weakness.
Well, let me be careful with my words. I don't want to say he killed because I don't know what happened, but there definitely, at the minimum, should have been an investigation on arrest. If the roles were reversed, if Ed Buck was black, you know, he would have been in jail.
Yeah, because black is considered weak in this system. We're strong, but we don't understand our power. We don't understand who we are. Well, I'm saying when we organize as a group, you come from a position of strength. It's like that Ken Thompson, that Brooklyn DA you talking about. They got that Asian cop out. He had to respond to organized demand. It was an organized demand. It wasn't one person outside singing "We Shall Overcome" on a megaphone. You had people that were business people. They had resources. They made a demand with some force, with some bass in their voice, and they got a result. Black folks, we don't make demands. We want friends. We want to forgive everybody. Don't ask for no forgiveness. We want sympathy. We want some compassion and empathy from our enemy. We don't even know who the enemy really is. We just want to be loved. We don't want the respect. As a group, I'm just honest with you, because there's no reason why we this weak right now as a collective, because we're not organized. Dick Gregory said we're not a community, and this is why we're not a community, because we get fucked over by everybody.
We're not organized, but even back in the 60s, with all the stuff that we were dealing with, black people, I think, were even better. We're a little bit more organized than we are today, because when that was coming up, when you had the different ideologies of Thurgood Marshall and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, there was an agreement, at least while their methods were different, that there was a common enemy. Nowadays, because we see, Oprah, or you see the LeBron James or Jay-Z or anyone else that have money, we think, well, we've made it. But the reality is that there's still a ceiling that you, as a black man, are not allowed to cross or not allowed to touch. There's still things that we have to deal with. But if we were more, we do need to be more organized in dealing with this stuff. And we are a reactionary people. We don't take action. I agree with. Right.
Because Sean King should be no representative.
Cosby, we should. With Bill Cosby, like all of us should have been active on that. And say this is bullshit. But we were so caught up. I think a lot of black people were angry and still are about his pound cake speech. And I know you and I have talked about it before, but the overall thing, and it's again about it's not so much just defending Bill Cosby, it's what their perception that they're putting on black men now, because we're the face of the Me Too movement. We're the enemy.
Well, it's lynch law. It's always been lynch law for the black man.
Right after Bill Cosby was sentenced, did you know that it was the Griot that put out an article saying, now Bill Cosby's been convicted, it's time to go after R. Kelly?
I didn't see, like, I heard something similar to that, but now you're confirming. Okay. Well, my thing, I don't even pay attention. I know this stuff is like, to me, this is what they're doing.
But you have to pay attention. Like Gary said, you pay attention for it to get the information. So I'm putting the information out there, just letting people know.
I don't know what good it's going to do.
This is what they're doing next. And then after R. Kelly, more than likely he gets indicted on something, or something happens to him. If some woman brings a new charge, or if there are new charges filed, and there could be, I don't know.
Based on what, though? What they going to find? Oh, based on that mockumentary, they're going to find some new charges? They'll find Jimmy Hoffa before they find some new charges.
Cosby got sentenced on. Cosby got convicted on stuff that was from after those documentaries started to come out.
Who talking about, Bill Cosby?
Well, I mean, they had documentaries that were on him.
But all this stuff is side ops, though. I'm saying they're running a side ops program on people, on the masses, especially black people. They treat us like Jonestown. It's a Jonestown side ops through social media. I don't pay attention to a lot of this stuff. Just research history. Research history and start trusting yourself. A lot of people got to take a time out from the social media madness. Get out in nature, meditate, learn how to understand who you are and operate from that. Because what we're doing is we're making a mess of everything because we're reacting to both them genes. See, I could tell a history that Dallas said we could kill a president in Dallas. Who gives a damn about both them genes? We could kill a president in Dallas and get away with it. Who cares about both them genes? So why I'm looking for them to give me some type of compassion. It's like, why you need a Sean King to tell you that killing black folks in Denny's is wrong, or Waffle House. And what I'm saying is, it's disturbing. It's really disturbing where we at as black people right now. It's really disturbing. It disturbs me that to think that Kamala Harris could actually win the black vote in 2020. That's disturbing to me. And she made a career putting black people in jail.
Well, again, Kamala Harris, like a lot of politicians, they push the agendas of other groups, like illegal immigration, LGBTQ, you name it.
Israel, Zionist.
Israel versus Palestine, abortion, all of that comes before issues of blacks. So, and in fact, pretty soon. Well, not even pretty soon. We basically, it's like what Dr. Claude Anderson talked about, how blacks have been relegated to a third world class.
We allowed it.
All of these groups that have come over, every other group, like I said, they've come over and gotten the benefits that blacks tried to get, couldn't get, that we should have been fighting for. Like we pushed for integration, which was fine, but we didn't push for the economic equality. We didn't push for the economic part. And had we done that, I think we've been much better off. But
man, we could talk about this all inside out. I don't think
we can go back and forth, man.
Yeah. But I just think people need to be honest with themselves. Right now, it's really concerning. I'm really concerned about us as a people, but I'm not going to let that stress me out because you just got to do what you can do with what you have. We could been had a network, man, but black folks too afraid of each other.
I say, let's look at, let's do this. Let's end it positive tonight. Let's look into what it costs to make a network. Our times have changed from when Bob Johnson did it, but it could be plausible. They do have Bounce TV. They do have TV One, but, let's look at making an actual network and see how much it costs us to start up. And maybe we can make it different because those networks, I don't believe, are online services. Maybe you can make an online network.
Well, I think we got a lot of black YouTubers. We got people doing their own actual thing like that, but we just don't know how to work with each other. That is the problem. So you can't talk about this code thing, this mystical code, when we don't even have an understanding among some of us. And we always want to romanticize the 60s. It was actually a small group of black people that was organizing and working on the greater hell for all black people. Dr. King didn't have the majority support of the black community, let alone black preachers. His birthday was yesterday. A lot of his enemies were black preachers that undermined him. A lot of black politicians abused and exploited, like Carl Stokes, who became the first black mayor of Cleveland. He disrespected Dr. King. You know, yeah, and it's like, but how, Brother Ron? Want y'all do some research? I'm tired of giving y'all all the answers. Hell, do some research.
Well, I mean, when Dr. King had to fight the elders in his community, when he started to change and talk about, economic empowerment, and he talked about like being against the war in Vietnam that he did a year before he actually got killed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even his own father was warning him about that. So, I mean, yeah, he was not liked by a lot of people. And unfortunately now, I think after his death, many people are seeing, we've never really had a leader like him. Farrakhan might be the closest, but, that's about it.
But the mainstream media did him dirty the last 5 years of his life. The Washington Post, New York Times, they all painted him as a boogeyman, as a failure, as a degenerate at the end of his life. He was just 39 when he passed away. But I'm saying we don't teach our kids, we don't teach ourselves this information. We keep on saying, but why they not report it on the mainstream news? Malcolm told y'all the media was the most powerful entity on the planet. It controls and influences the minds of the masses. So you keep on talking about why people think I'm a monster. You allow your enemy to define your existence and your identity and to tell your story.
Right.
But I'm saying we got black folks with resources. See, one thing, Nick Cannon don't have to be the one who be the face of the network. They can write checks behind the scenes.
Do the Asians count on Jackie Chan to help them out?
Hell no, they'll commit. What I'm saying is they don't even vote. They vote with their paychecks and their pocketbooks and their bank accounts. What I'm saying is some of these folks, like Dick Gregory, he knew that he was not a general. He knew he was a foot soldier, and he was there to supply the resources for the leadership of the movement. He would tell you that. Harry Belafonte, they was there to raise money for the movement, for the leaders. So we got to know what our role is in this movement thing, but there's no movement, there's no code. See, people talking about code, it's bullshit. There's no code. We have no honor. We don't even understand who we are as people. We don't even have an identity that we can agree upon. Our identity changes ever so often. You know what I'm saying? Colored, Negro, African American, Black, whatever. Right? We can't even agree on our own narrative. We can't even have a consensus on our narrative of how we got in this country when we was already here. Or no, we came over here in 1619 when we was here before Columbus ever came to the Americas. So we can't even agree on certain things. But you had people that left examples. Like people saying, what should black folks demand? Start with the 10-point platform the Black Panther Party put out there. That is a great thing to start with for as far as demand. They talk about housing, food, education, healthcare, all this stuff is in the 10-point. And I asked you, have you read that? No, but you say you're a fan of Huey Newton and the Panther. You say you love Fred Hampton, but don't you understand who he was and what he was about? You just like the imagery. You like the Wakanda-nish of it all.
Right. You like him sitting in the wicker chair with
you like that bullshit.
Yeah, you like that. Well, what I'll say too, you can also read. I got to run, but if you read the 10-point agenda that a brother by the name of T. West. I don't think he wrote this, but it was the African American. Hold on 1 second. And this is another Ron. This is another person that people can follow. T. West.
The Afro Synergy.
He hosts Afro Synergy.
I like the brother. See, a lot of us out there. We being that drum.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great brother. He has a 21 point African American national political agenda. I could read it to you all, but it would take me like 15 minutes. But what I could do, I'll send it to you.
Right.
I'll copy it and I'll text it to you, and you can probably post it. When you
I'll circulate it.
upload this video. Yeah. Right. I want everybody to look at this. This is what we should be asking, our politicians. And he has been the African American national political agenda. He has been one of the ones talking about how illegal immigration does not benefit African Americans. It does not, and in truth, it does not. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying that people who come to this country shouldn't be allowed in. Obviously, if you come over here, you want to be an American, fine. You want to learn how to speak English. You got to learn how to speak English, pay taxes, and work like everybody else. Fine, I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that. But damn it, they're trying to take care of people who come over here more than they take care of the people that live here. That's right. You know, they got people that they want to bring over here who don't like this country.
Right.
Hey, we got time for fuck. If you don't want to come here, let's find somebody else that does. They got people who are waiting to come here that want to be a part of the country and do great things. You don't want to do stuff, you get the fuck out. Because it's hurting us. It hurts us. Because, I mean, you know, when I look at some of the things with the sanctuary cities, I've heard and read stuff about, you know, they want to give free education to some people who are, you know, illegal immigrants. And I'm like, at 32 years old, right now, I'm still paying back my student loan debts.
Mm-hmm.
I went to 2 colleges. I went to college and I went to graduate school, law school. Help me out.
I agree.
Help other people out. And I'm going to end on that because I think on this note, I want everybody to do something nice for someone if you can. We all try and just, you know, help someone out if you can, if and when you can. And let's look at that news network. Let's look at what we can do and start changing the narrative around America and in the world.
And Brother Gavin, thank you so much. How can we find you? How can people support your network or your channel and other things?
gboot2786 is my channel. Gavin.grich1@gmail.com is my email. You all know who I am. Please follow and support. You know, I do have, you all see my PayPal and Patreon account. That'll be up pretty soon this week. I'll have the links required. You guys can donate if you please to keep the channel going, keep me going. But, you know, that's basically how you find me.
Thank you, Brother Gavin, for all the stuff you have been doing, man. I've really been enjoying your videos and commentary. Your voice need to be amplified by any means necessary. So in the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing and make 2019 your year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes, sir.
All right.